everyone, it's Skylar. Welcome back to my channel. We're on to day 6 of 31 days of November challenge month. I know I'm behind on this, but I'm going to race through. And here goes nothing. Today's, whatever you want to call it, is I'm still doing the years from 1970 to 1979. So today's is a movie from 1975. So it was actually released in the USA on April 6th of 1975, and the movie is called Capone. Directed by Steve Carver, produced by Roger Corman, written by Howard Brown, starring Ben Gazzara as Al Capone, Harry Guardino as Johnny Torino, Susan Blakely as Iris Crawford, John Cassavetes as Frankie Yale, Sylvester Stallone as Frank the Enforcer Nitti, Frank Campanella as Big Jim Cosimo, John Orchard as Diano O'Banion, Carmen Argenzanio, as Jack McGurn, George Chandler as Robert E. Crow, John Davis Chandler as Hermie Ways, Royal Dano as Anton Semak, Peter Maloney as Jake Gruzik, Dick Muller as Joe Pryor, Robert Phillips as Butch Moran, Martin Court as Peter Gussenberg, Tony Giorgio as Antonio Lombardo, Johnny Martino as Tony Ametto, Tina Scala as Mrs. Torino, music by David Grisham, cinematography by Vilas Lepensky or whatever you want to call it, edited by Richard C. Meyer. The movie starts off with a man walking down the street, then looks around the corner, sees two men turning light screws and runs off. Then a man walks out of the shop, and the man calls the police. Then the police race down the street. Then another man walking down an alleyway sees a man stealing fur coats, and then the police walk down the alleyway and brawl with the man. Brawl with the man, and the man tries to escape, but one of the men gets arrested and gets questioned by the police, but doesn't know anything as he can't see. Then another policeman tells them to let him go, but reluctantly agrees, and the policeman gets shouted at. Then the man gets let go and is shoved into a car, drives off, then is escorted out the car and is in the office, is talking to some men, tells them what had happened, and as Al says he hates cops, tries to give him a check but declines, and then leaves and punches the man on his way out. Then two men discuss about the judge and discuss about Al Capone and says that he should be on the payroll, and then departs, and then goes to see a man with a diamond and have a talk, but wants no part of it and leaves. Then at night a man wants to make a long distance call to Frank and have a chat on the phone, and he needs a hand, so sends Al Capone on the train, and then he comes back. Then at night all the cars drive past, and a man gets out of a taxi, walks to a restaurant and talks to everyone round the table. Then one man gets in a fight with Al Capone, but it gets stopped and takes the man for a walk. Then Al and another man have another meeting and agrees to be a part of the crew, and then talks some more, and then gives Al Capone a gun and goes on his way. Then Al Capone walks into a building, talks to someone, but they ain't seen anyone, and walks somewhere else, finds a man and shoots him in the back of the head and walks away. Then back at one of the boss's offices, they talk about bootlegging boozers or leasing them, and agrees but then leaves. Then Al Capone and Mr. Stenson talk outside and says they're going to be assigning themselves to people in power and have to act like them. So they both agree. Then in July they knock a car over and beat up two men, takes them to a car and shoots them both. Then at another meeting they talk about beer, laugh and joke among themselves. Then Al Capone interrupts them and tells them straight. And that's why Johnny calls the sit-down meeting in the first place and doesn't want any more shootings. Then in September of 1923, someone knocks on Al's door. Then Al comes out and knocks the lady out and carries her in a car and takes her home. Then a man threatens a barman and smashes the place. And then there's a shootout in the bar. Then O'Donnell walks out, lights a cigar and gets shot. Then Al Capone is on the phone talking to someone and talks to Johnny in an office and tells him that someone was shot and tells Al that they were businessmen, not gunmen. Then at a funeral they talk over the man's grave. Then Al Capone gives the guy hell and the man walks off and tries to threaten Al Capone but spits down and walks away. Then the phone goes while a man was making love, answers it and is told to go to the office. Then 3 other people get phone calls and then start shooting people and throwing bombs at people's houses. Then Al and the guns and the gang hugs everyone and sends their condolences and talks some more about business and that they want to kill everyone and that Al makes a lot of sense. And one man says that he and his brother will do this. Then at night Al Capone knocks on a door and is let in and walks around and goes to a blackjack table, talks away and then walks to the office where an officer is waiting for him, and Al Capone pushes the officer and $5,000 will keep the police officers silent, but Al Capone gets his gun out. Then they still continue to play blackjack and a lady shouts Al out and talks to him. Then Al has a fight. Then the police burst in and the lights are turned off and Al Capone was told to stop, but the girl glasses the policeman. Then they both escape, walk to another place which is a whorehouse. It's like a brothel basically. And they both get locked up, but Al Capone escapes and goes to the policeman and tells them to let the girl go and walks away. Yeah. Then at lunchtime the phone goes and a man answers the phone and Al talks to the girl, and the next thing you know they're both playing golf together. Then talk some more. Then 3 men walk to a florist and Al Capone plays golf. Then at the florist they shoot the flower man and walk away. Then Al has a drink and talks to 2 ladies and they ask Al Capone some questions and he pulls his need I say more, his penis out of his pants. Then goes to someone's funeral, kneels down and walks away. Then a man is driving in a car and the car stops. A car is behind him and starts shooting at him and quickly drives away. And they follow him around the streets. And then the car gets blown and is dead. Then on January the 25th, 1925, a man gets a bomb from a car and places it inside the car. Then leaves. Then Al gets in the car but is told to wait whilst they check it over and finds a bomb and disarms it and decides to walk instead. Then Al Capone gets a machine gun and walks around the office with it, then asks to be talked in private and tells Al Capone to make a call to people to stop violence as 9 people has been killed in 2 weeks and asks to give them patches, but Al declines and Al is made to give them the message, hugs the man and then walks away. Al Capone lifts the phone and then puts it down and then listens to some music, and then Al talks to someone else about killing someone and tells them to call and give them the address. So they wait in a car until another car comes, and they get out and shoot them all in the face and walks away. At the hospital, Al Capone insists that someone be at his room round the clock. Then Al gets a phone call at his office from the hospital and gets told that he will make a full recovery. Then Al visits the man at hospital, talks to him, and the man says that he's dying and that Al Capone must rule Chicago, and agrees that. Then Johnny leaves hospital, gets to a car and drives off. Then Al is looking at a script and throws the script on the floor and tells them not to fool around. Then the phone goes, then stops, and tells them that Al Capone is now the boss. So they talk some more, even about the mafia, and then a man walks away. Then Al Capone talks with his bodyguard. Then on April 27th, 1926, Al Capone gets his gun, and his bodyguard tells him there's 5 of them and to be on your guard. Then Al Capone says that you're always looking out for the boss, then smokes his cigar and walks away. Then Al and the bodyguard get out of the car and start shooting, kills everyone and drives off. Then Al and his pals come round a table and listens to a bulletin and says, I've nailed my arse on the cross. Then a man shows Al Capone his gun and threatens the judge and walks free. Then drives with his girlfriend in a car, and his bodyguard follows behind them and talks some more. Then pulls the car over, swaps seats and drives off with them behind Al Capone. And then Al tells her to slow down and stop so they can get away from the bodyguard, so they can get out of the car. Then a girl drinks a drink, then Al throws it away and shouts at her, then throws a rock into the lake and talks some more, and then kisses her. Then hugs her. After that, grabs her, takes her dress off and takes her undergarment off and kisses some more. On September 20th, 1926, cars going past and shooting everywhere, even where Al Capone is drinking. Then they get out and shoot some more and leave in the car. Then Al Capone and the bodyguard and others get up and leave. Then Al Capone retaliates and shoots them back outside a florist. Plus 20 of them are dead. Then at a meeting, men are talking to try and join forces against Al Capone. Then Al Capone and friends are having food. Then Al slaps a man and floors him. Then the next day, a man goes into his car and gets in it, and then it blows up. On February 27th, 1929, Al Capone talks with his friends and says this all needs to be stopped and wants to cause a massacre. Then the bodyguard and Jake have a meeting but can't talk to Al Capone. Then at night time, a car pulls up, and then inside someone calls a number. Then Al and his girlfriend snuggle up in bed and talk about things with champagne in his hand, and says that she loves him. Champagne in his hand, and says that she loves him and he loves her back. Then chase each other around the room and kiss some more. Then leave for dinner and canoodle outside, and guns start firing, in which the girlfriend is killed. But Al Capone survives and shouts for an ambulance and holds her close and starts to cry and says, "You killed my family," because he also found out that night that she was pregnant. Then Al Capone and Frank go to City Hall and talk to the judge and other people and says he's going to be the judge and the new mayor of this fair town, and wants everyone to cooperate, and says that Al's money is going to be in millions. Then says, "I've got everything on you all," and walks away. On February 14th, 1929, the police then arrest 6 men, but frisks them down first. Then 2 men come in and shoot the 6 men to the ground and walk away. Then Frank has a meeting at the museum and talks some more and promises to get rid of Al Capone. On June the 6th, 1931, Al Capone goes to court for tax evasion. He gets fined 50 grand plus 30 grand in court costs and goes to jail for approximately 11 years, but he only serves 8. In Alcatraz, 1938, Al Capone is found out to have syphilis. Then a prisoner asks Al if he's okay and goes crazy on him and fights with everyone in jail. Then Al gets dragged across the jail. Then Frank talks with some people and goes to see Al Capone, who is fishing in the pool. Frank says hi to Al and talks a lot more, and then Frank walks away. Then Frank and Tony talk about Al Capone. Then Tony takes Frank's jacket off and they walk away. And Al is talking to himself and shakes his head and basically talks to himself some more. Because of the syphilis, it made him get worse, basically. So that's the end of I think we're on day 6. Was it day 6? It was day 6 on this. Let me check. Yeah, day 6. And the movie from 1975. My thoughts on this. To be honest, this is my second favourite review I've done so far. I really enjoyed the film. I was so engrossed in the film. My favourite character was actually Al Capone himself and Sylvester Stallone's character. I thought, let me reiterate and find out what the guy's name is. So bear with me 2 seconds. Where is it? Yeah, Ben Gazzara. He was the one that played Al Capone. I mean, he played him to a T. He sounded like him. He dressed like him. He acted like him. Done the whole 9 yards of him, and I just thought that he was made to be Al Capone. I loved how he used his gun. Loved his little swagger. Loved the fact that he didn't want a girlfriend and he was playing hard to get, and then he ends up getting the girl, and then they were starting a family, and then that's why he just fucking went berserk. Excuse my language, I shouldn't have said that, but he just went absolutely crazy and berserk. Like, just out and out crazy. Yeah, so, to be honest, this is like the second best film I've reviewed, and obviously the first was The Exorcist, obviously. I just loved like the whole setting, the whole outfit, the whole ambience of the film, all of like where it was set, the car. I love the cars. I love old-fashioned cars, and they had it in that film, and a few more things. But even the way the script was written, the whole lot, it was made to be around that time. So, rating, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 because it was perfect in nearly every single way. I can't give it a 10 out of 10 unless the film was absolutely flawless and I absolutely adored it and thoroughly. The only bit that and I was a bit sad that that Al Capone couldn't get his happiness and he ended up dying from syphilis. That's what it was a little bit sad about it, that there was a little bit of sadness to the story. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. I know I'm a bit late, but I am slowly catching up, so bear with me. So yeah, stay gory, have unpleasant dreams, and I'll see you soon. Ta-ta for now. Bye. Bye bye.